The Democrats have successfully passed their economic package. They're calling it the Inflation Reduction Act. And as soon as it passed, the media started calling it their climate and health care reform package. Here's what's happening. The Democrats have rammed through a bill through a process called reconciliation. If they wanted to do an actual bill that had a bunch of policy changes, it could be prevented by a filibuster, meaning Republicans could just say, yo, we're not going to allow this. You're going to need 60 votes. So instead, they go through like this budgetary process where they only need 50 votes because it's a tie. Kamala Harris will break the tie. She did. And now the bill is going to the president. Good news for everybody. Your taxes are going to go up. Okay, hold on. Your taxes are probably going to go up at some point. Democrats are trying to argue that no. As long as you don't make more than $400,000 per year, you will not see a tax increase, which is technically correct. But the reality is there's a massive expansion of the IRS underway. So while they may not formally go after you tax-wise, let me tell you what's going to happen to all those servers, to all of those people who collect tips, things like that. They are adding 87,000 new IRS agents, okay? Do you think that it's to go after the few hundred billionaires that might exist? No. Okay, maybe, probably a little bit. But I just got to warn you, the people who are funding the campaigns of these members of Congress, those are the billionaires. Pretty sure these politicians are not going after them. So this is what you have to look forward to, my friends. Now, the GOP is saying Democrats are going to be reeling in November, but this is huge, okay? 87,000 new IRS agents. I want you to understand what that means. 87,000. They are going to be digging through your life. They are going to be digging through everything that is you. And if you don't believe me, just don't ignore what they tried doing last year. I'm not playing these games where the Democrats are like, no, we're just trying to modernize the department. Who likes the IRS? ABC News reported this October 19th, 2021. Biden administration backs down on tracking bank accounts with over $600 in annual transactions. Is that a threshold to go after the millionaires and the billionaires? No, that's a threshold to go after you. Why? You see, my friends, in this country, there is a large amount of taxes you aren't paying. That's right. Yeah. I think it's really funny that you have all of these leftists who are like, tax the rich man. And then it's like, are you wait staff? Because it's not the billionaires who are serving people at restaurants who are crossing their fingers, hoping for a cash tip they can put in their pocket without reporting. It is not the millionaires and billionaires who are working at gentlemen's clubs and taking that cash and not reporting it. I'm not trying to disparage people who make cash. I'm telling you, if that is you, if you are someone, a working class person who receives cash, they are going after every single penny. So here's the reality, my friends. While they may not be trying to raise your taxes in terms of your income tax, they're going to be taking more from you in terms of taxes. They found a way to do it. And that way is to massively expand the IRS, but also there's a whole bunch of other tax hikes which are going to bleed out into your income. And then you'll ask yourself, why is gas going up? Well, it's funny. You know, they call this the reconciliation, the Inflation Reduction Act. I think that's what they're calling it, the Inflation Reduction Act. CBS News calls it the sweeping climate, health, and tax bill, delivering a win for Biden. What's going to happen is that there's going to be so many changes. It is going to gut your finances, man. Now, whether or not Democrats see pain from this in November, well, we're a few months away. 3 more months. I got to tell you, I think this is apocalyptic. The Democrats should be passing bills that just lower costs for the American people, but I suppose they want to lose. I don't know what to tell you. So Republicans are slamming Democrats, which I think the whole thing's bunk. I think the whole thing's fake. Come on. You think that before a midterm, adding 87,000 IRS agents is going to convince the American people to vote for you. This is all just, it's nonsense. I don't trust or believe. Well, I'll put it this way. These politicians, they're lying. They're full of it. Daily Mail reports Republicans have warned that Democrats will pay the price in November after it passed the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 and launched an economic assault on the American middle class. The GOP blasted progressive leadership over the $740 billion climate change and healthcare spending bill that has been the result of months-long talks within the Democratic Party. No Republican lawmakers signed onto the bill, though Senate Democrats were able to pass it via simple majority through the budget reconciliation process. It's a major win for Democrats' agenda, whose prospects in the looming midterm elections had looked dim for months. However, conservatives criticized the move, alleging Democrats were reckless by passing the bill as the U.S. battles a 41-year high inflation rate and looming recession. Joe Biden said it to you, my friends. He said he was going to get us off fossil fuels. Well, for all of you working class Joes who are concerned about the fact that gas is still at $4, no, the Biden administration has come out and said gas is now dropped for 30 consecutive days or something like that. Okay, that's fantastic. But is that something to brag about when gas is still over $4? Look, I'm not going to play these games. Joe Biden is the one implementing policies which cause gas prices to go up. The funny thing is, when Republicans or conservatives point that out, the left says Joe Biden doesn't control gas prices. And then when the price starts coming down, they're like, that's Joe Biden. It's like, dude, pick one. I can recognize that Joe Biden's policies have caused spikes in gas prices. They won't remain high in forever. But now, while you're celebrating early and cheering for this, bro, your gas prices are about to go up. Look, it's quite simple. They're calling it a climate bill. Is that how they pulled the rug out from under you? They said it's an inflation reduction. And then you said, oh, because you're going to tax the rich. And like, that's right. That'll lower inflation. It's like, how does taxing the rich lower inflation? No. Look, I'm not an economist, but I'll give you some simple points. When wealthy people, and I'm not saying it's a good thing, when they hoard cash, that reduces money supply. That actually is deflationary. Yeah, because there's less money going around. Now, it also means wealthy people have a massive amount of access to wealth and can manipulate the political system. I'm not a fan of any of that. But this idea of taking more of their money means the government can spend it, which is not reducing inflation. They're basically just spitting in your face and telling you it's for your own good. First, it was the Inflation Reduction Act. And now if you Google search it, it's the sweeping healthcare and climate bill, landmark climate healthcare bill. Wow. Really amazing. The Senate's bill will make mark on climate and healthcare costs. Climate. Do you know what that means, my friends? It means you will pay more at the pump. It means you will pay more for heating your home, for air conditioning your home. It means you will pay more. Here's Americans for Tax Reform. List of tax hikes in Democrat reconciliation bill. Now, I'm not going to entertain their idea that they're raising taxes on you. I mean, this is what they're trying to say. They're trying to say this is a tax hike, right? Sort of. What this is a tax hike on industry, which will be passed off to you. Take a look at this. $6.5 billion natural gas tax, which will increase household energy bills. The bill imposes a regressive tax on American oil and gas development. The tax will drive up the cost of household energy bills. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the natural gas tax will increase taxes by $6.5 billion. I want to pause real quick and just make sure I get this point in, because I want to remind you that last year the Democrats were trying to track people whose bank accounts had over $600 in annual transactions. So when I say that this will result in you paying more taxes, what's going to happen is you're going to have the likes of Media Matters and other left-wing propaganda machines saying Tim Pool falsely claims people will pay more in taxes. No, that's true. I am not saying your tax rate individually will go up. As far as I know, my understanding is this bill is not going to make it so that if you pay like 28% in taxes, you're paying 28.5 or anything like that. What it's going to do is weaponize the IRS with 87,000 new agents. And if they can't track your bank account, if you're making over $600, they will find a way to extract that from you. So how will you be paying more in taxes? Quite simply, those agents are going to make sure you do. They don't need to increase the tax rate on you. They need only say, what do you mean? You mean you weren't paying your fair share? These IRS agents are only going after the fair share. So yeah. Now here's what I will say too. Not everybody that is paying taxes incorrectly is doing it intentionally. I mentioned people who earn cash and them not reporting it. There are a lot of people who just don't realize they're doing their taxes wrong, and you're probably paying less. You may have put in a wrong number. It's not a crime to make mistakes. It's a crime to intentionally lie on your taxes. With these new IRS agents, rest assured, next year, it'll be April, you'll file your taxes, and a couple months later, you get a letter from the IRS saying you actually owe us another $273. And you're going to say, what? Why? And what are you going to do? Are you going to hire a tax agent to try and save you the money, or are you going to be on the hook for that cash? That's what's going to happen. I know tons of people. They get bills, and it's like you owe another 700 and something bucks, and they're like, but for what? I don't understand. Well, are you going to spend the next few days going through every single transaction and going through the paperwork and trying to figure out why? No. They're just going to say, we know you owe it, you didn't pay it. Now, you could argue the IRS isn't raising taxes on anybody. They're simply trying to just find out who's not paying their fair share. It's the fair share, right? You will, in all likelihood, be paying more in energy costs, in food costs, and you'll probably end up paying more in taxes. I would say for the people on average. Here's the list. They say, with this increase on natural gas, I just got to tell you guys, they say the tax hike violates President Biden's tax pledge to any American making less than $400,000 per year. Biden admin officials have repeatedly admitted taxes that raise consumer energy prices are in violation of Biden's pledge. Look, well, let me read again. A letter to Congress from the American Gas Association warned that the methane tax would amount to a 17% increase on an average family's natural gas bill. Democrats have included a tax in the bill despite retail prices for energy surpassing multi-year highs in the United States. This is called Joe Biden enacting policy that raises the cost of fuel. And when they say Joe Biden doesn't control gas prices, this is how he can, because he's going to sign this. Now hold on. It may be that the cost of crude, gas, and everything goes down. We will see. And that may mean cheaper gas for you. Fair point. You may end up paying less for unrelated reasons. The reality, though, is there's going to be a tax on energy, which means the government will be extracting as much as they can. If prices do go down, it may be due to external factors. What I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to say this to be clear, you will end up paying more than you normally would regardless. And I know it's probably an easy political answer, but look, energy companies are not going to just cut into their record profits. You can blame them. Fine, fair point, but it will be passed on to you. $12 billion crude oil tax will increase household costs. They say this one also violates the Biden's tax pledge. Democrats have included a 16.4 cent per barrel tax on crude oil and imported petroleum products that will be passed on to consumers in the form of higher gas prices. A $1.2 billion coal tax will increase household energy. They say the tax rate on coal from subsurface mining would increase from 50 cents per ton to $1.10 per ton. Well, the tax rate on coal from surface mining would increase from 25 cents to 55 cents per ton. Corporate income tax on U.S. businesses will be passed on to households. I'm not a fan of major corporations being like, we made record profits, charge the consumer more. But that's the reality. That's how it works. You want to talk about what the solutions are? Fine. This will trickle down to the consumer. This is not inflation reduction. This is inflationary. When you pass the costs on to the consumer, now the people say, I need more wages to cover the cost of the increase. More taxes means more inflation. Democrats imposed a 15% corporate alternative minimum tax on the financial statement income of American businesses. The cost of this tax increase will be borne by working families in the form of higher prices, fewer jobs, and lower wages. A Tax Foundation report from last December found a 15% book tax would reduce GDP by 0.1% and kill 27,000 jobs. Now, I will push back a little bit I want to say, I think in some areas, tax increases actually make more jobs. Yeah, for real. As someone who runs a business, I can tell you this. When I'm looking at revenue coming in, if we don't spend the revenue as a pass-through organization, then you get taxed very heavily on it. If you just hire people and reinvest in your business, well, that's you write off the expenses for your business. So investing into your company is often better when taxes get really, really high. That may be one of the strategies here. But of course, you'll hear a lot of people say it's going to kill jobs and be passed on. That is still true. It is. Not every business responds to a tax hike by being able to just be like, all right, we need to spend more to offset this. No, that's when your business is doing well and you have the ability because you have great margins. If your company has razor thin margins and you're like, look, we're barely cutting it as it is, we got to downsize. That's a reality as well. And that's most businesses. So when they come out and they tell you they're improving things or whatever, I honestly think this whole thing that they're doing, it is to run a stake through the heart of the economy. And I hope you guys are paying attention. I don't know if this will hit, maybe the strategy is kill the economy so that when Republicans take over, by the time this stuff starts hitting, they're going to say, look, it's going to be, I think this may be a nuclear bomb, a sabotage. Republicans will likely be in power in April. And then when everyone starts getting hit, they're going to be like, it's the Republicans who are in charge, who got Congress and the Senate, we can't even fix it. And then when the Republicans move to fix it, they're going to say, thanks, Joe Biden. Politics is a disgusting and dirty game, and that is the reality. Democrats see new signs of hope ahead of midterms. Yes, they see new signs of hope. I hope y'all are listening. Because with these moves, there was the abortion thing in Kansas, and with this bill, Democrats are closing the gap in the polls. Now, I think it would be a historical anomaly if Democrats are actually able to retain Congress in a president's first term. That would be weird, but it's possible. It is entirely possible they do. So I hope that come November, in fact, I hope that right now, you are knocking on doors. You are telling people to go out and vote for what you believe in. Because I'll put it this way. I'm not a fan of the Democrats, but if you're a Democrat voter, here's your chance. If you're a Republican voter, they are coming for you. You can see them in the rear view mirror. They're trying to overtake, and they will unless you get active. Now, here's what I find interesting. Senate Democrat says doing all these bills by reconciliation is not the right way to do it. Yeah. Ben Cardin of Maryland said Sunday he supports using the reconciliation process to bypass a Senate filibuster, but it's not the right way to do it to keep doing this. You know what? This is the system these days. And it's all starting to bubble up and just fall apart. This is what I hope y'all are getting ready, are paying attention to, because the machine is broken. It's been broken for some time, but a broken machine is continually it's about to implode. It's about to just, and then what? We can't function as a country when the media lies, when the politicians lie, every single person pushing for an agenda. They don't care. And they're willing to use any procedural methods, regardless, any parliamentarian rules to get what they want. You had, going back, what was his name? I forget the guy's name. Harry Reid. There you go. He eliminated the filibuster for judicial nominations. Trump gets in 3 Supreme Court justices. Republicans then get what they want, conservatives do, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which shocked me. I didn't think it was going to happen. Now they're saying Republicans aren't going to, or the conservatives aren't going to overturn Obergefell v. Hodges, which is gay marriage. And now I'm kind of like, learn my lesson. I really thought that they wouldn't go near Roe v. Wade, and they did. And now I think it's entirely possible they do. The weird thing is you've got people on both sides saying, no, they won't. And yes, they will. Ted Cruz said it. Clarence Thomas said it. But I've had Republicans say there's no appetite in the Supreme Court for overturning Obergefell v. Hodges, because gay marriage is an institution or whatever. And it's like, maybe, man, but they claimed abortion was. And then people got rid of it. Supreme Court said this is not the way to do it. Clarence Thomas already explained exactly why he thinks it should not be. And maybe legislation is the appropriate way to do it. Maybe Congress just needs to codify it. Maybe they can include it in their reconciliation process. No, they can't. But I don't know, man. They tried to codify some kind of gay marriage thing. I think they did. It's been a while. I don't want to opine without having the sources pulled up. But I'll tell you what I see happening. I look at it this way. It's a big skyscraper. You ever go to the top of a skyscraper? You ever go to like the top of Sears Tower in Chicago? Yeah, they call it Willis, but I'm not doing that. I'm an old fogey. It's Sears Tower. But they sway back and forth, because they're large structures. They're tall. What I see is, with the United States system, you started off with a simple foundation, sturdy and short. And over time, it grew and expanded and gets a little bit of wobble back and forth. And then as it gets bigger, the wobble gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And now it's getting too big, and eventually it's going to wobble over and then go down. That's kind of what it feels like is happening. The system has become too cumbersome and ridiculous, and there needs to be some kind of, I don't know. We need to sunset bills. We need to retire politicians. We need to bring in new, young energy and try and just, there comes a point where your system is so bloated that you need to be like, okay, hold on. Let's remove the bloat, strip it down to its baser parts, and restore that sturdy foundation. But I don't see us doing it. I mean, maybe it's a civil war or something that precipitates a thing like that. But I'll get to the point, and I'll wrap it up. Yes, this bill will mean you're going to pay more in taxes. And they will try and claim that I'm wrong or I'm lying, but I am giving you my opinion and my argument. It is not a fact statement. Normally I would say something as such. What I'm saying is this. With the expansion of the IRS to this degree, in my opinion, they are going to find ways to make you pay more in taxes by going through your tax returns. They will likely target the wealthier more because there's more money to be extracted. But what I think we'll see is policy maneuvers so that they can at least get, you know what? Let me say this. What's better? Convincing one person to give you $1 million or convincing 1 million people to give you $1? I will tell you, my friends, it is easier to convince 1 million people to give you $1 than it is to convince a rich person to give you $1 million. Seriously. And the reason is, to anyone, even the poorest person, $1 is not that difficult to give up. A single dollar. You can find $1 in the street. Not everybody wants to give the dollar, don't get me wrong. But you go to a rich person. You're trying to seek investment or a donation or a contribution, and you got to state your case, and you're making that argument. They might be like, I don't know. It's $1 million. It's a lot, right? But if you have a platform, if you're a politician, or, in this instance, even someone like me, shout out to everybody, right? Would you be willing to give $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $20 to support a cause? And 1 million people giving $1. It's a lot easier. So here's my point. The IRS knows this. You can go after the wealthy, but the wealthy can fight back. The wealthy can hide their money. You know who can't fight back? You. When you get a tax bill that says you owe $10, and you're going to be like, I thought I paid all my taxes. It's $10. Fine, whatever. I'll give the $10. And then you do. Because it's easier to pay the $10 than it is to go up against the IRS. You get the letter in the mail. Nobody answers the phone. Fine, send them a check for $10. They can do that to 1 million people, and they'll make $10 million. You try to take $1 million from one guy or 10 million from one guy, and he's going to be like, I will see you in court. We'll have a hearing, and you can do an audit. So yeah, in my opinion, you will be paying more in taxes thanks to the Democrats. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.